Good day, guys. Austin here, and today we are going to do something a little different. And mix things up, keep you on your toes. Well, today, instead of having a release of a guide, as in another system, I'm actually going to help you set up the systems that you've already got. So, a lot of you have been writing in saying that basically, I don't know, the ROMs don't match the wheels don't match the ROMs, they need to go through all kinds of stuff. How do I get the artwork for this? How do I make this? How do I do that? So what I've done is I've basically compiled all the tools that I use on my Hyperspin setup, and I've put them into one big bundle, and I've given them to you. And the way you get them, as always, is in the description below. There's a link to a mega site. Go to the mega site, download the folder, and you should end up with something similar to this. So all you need to do, as always, is uncompress it, decompress it, do what the fuck you want to do with it, just to make sure that it's no longer a compressed folder and a normal folder, as in this one. And within there is all the tools that you will need most probably throughout your Hyperspin careers. Okay, so let's actually put these in a place that they should be, the place that I like to keep them. So if you've been following my tutorials, which I'm sure you should have been because it's probably the best tutorials you'll ever see in your life, we've got ours set up on the D drive, but yours can be whatever you wish. And from day one, week one of doing this, I told you to make a utilities folder. Now in the utilities folder, you should have already had the startup script. Now it looks like I've already done this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. Yeah, you'll probably have something similar to that, basically startup script. Now, that's handy to have, so make sure you don't do anything with that. But what I'm going to do now is drag the tools folder over into our Hyperspin setup. So now we've actually got it organized. Everything to do with Hyperspin is now in Hyperspin, and it's in our utilities folder and tools. So whenever you want to use anything, it's there and it's not going to move, and everything is safe and padded within its own little folder. So, alright then, well, let's have a look what we've actually got. Where should we start? Let's go into naming tools, because this is always the good one that everybody always wants to do. Now, say for example, you have downloaded, I don't know, a ROM pack of Sega Mega Drive. So, you put it into your Hyperspin, you load it up, you do an audit, and you find out that basically the names don't match the database, so all your ROMs end up looking red. So, well, most of the time, because it's Mega Drive and it's only a small download, the easiest thing to do is just find another ROM set with the correct naming convention, so you don't have to go through this process. But say for example you then find a system which is disk based, or a very large system, say for example, I don't know, PlayStation 2, yep, most probably you've only got so many games because they do take up quite a considerable amount of space on your hard drive. But if you downloaded quite a big pack and you don't want to re-download another version of them, which would make common sense because they're a pain in the ass to get hold of in the first place, never mind actually storing them. So what can you do? Well, you can rename them, and you can sit there one by one and rename them, type in the names and everything like that, perfectly within your realm. However, you can use tools to actually do the process for you, or to aid you in doing that. So one of the best ones that I use for doing such a thing would be a program called FatMatch. Now FatMatch is made for actually naming artwork rather than ROMs, but what you can do is cheat the program and turn it on its head, renaming ROMs instead of artwork. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot easier to rename a ROM than what it is to rename artwork. Because if you think, come on, common sense people, let's think. For every game you've got, you have a wheel, a box art, a cart art, or a disc art, a theme, and it all goes into a system which is also named. So for each one game, you've got 3 or 4 other sets of artwork that would also you need to change the name for. So it's a lot easier to change one thing than it is to change 3 or 4 things. So if possible, I mean, don't get me wrong, this doesn't happen all the time. There are certain circumstances where you will need to change the names of art, but in this circumstance it's easier to change the name of the ROMs if possible. So what I use is FatMatch. That's my favourite one. There are other ones, but we're looking at FatMatch now. Anyway, waffle, fat match then. Here's fat match that's loaded up. Okay, this is what you're greeted with. Fat match is basically a way to change your ROMs. Sorry, your images. But what you can do is do the opposite way around. So say for example, what it would do in this scenario is, if I was going to play by the rules, I would put, I don't know, let's have a look anyway. Let's use an example. Computer. What have we got? Hyper brain farts. Let's do PlayStation 2 like we were talking about. Okay, so PlayStation 2. I'm playing it by the rules now. I'm going to do everything as I should do. I'm basically looking at the art. So what I want to do is compare all my wheel art with the PlayStation 2. So, computer. Computer. Hyperspin. No, we're not going. Yeah, we are. We'll go with my one. See where we're up to. Hyperspin, media, Sony PlayStation 2, images, and wheel. Okay, so now I've told it where the ROMs are, now I've told it where the images are. Now what it's going to do is go into our options tab here, and as you can see, you've got matches greater than a certain percentage. Now over here you can take out common words, leave it. Basically what I do is I leave everything as it normally is. However, on here you can change it from a certain percentage. Now 65 is usually a safe bet. You will end up, I mean, I've got shitloads of games, so I will end up with quite a high percentage. Quite a lot of games. But if the more percentage you go up, it means that the names of the wheels have to be more accurate to the games, and the further you go down, basically it'll turn into the stage where it just tries to compare everything with everything. But 65% is a safe margin. So what we can do now is, obviously there's no results yet, but what we can do is press start. So now it's going to go through all my games, and then it's going to compare them to all the wheels and try and match up anything that are similar in naming conventions. So it will take some time. Obviously the more games you've got, the more wheels you've got, the more art, the more time it will take. I'm actually rendering a video at this moment in time as per normal, so it's taking a lot of my CPU usage. But yeah, basically all this is doing now is using the level of error of 65% and comparing it with those details, the names of the ROMs with the names of the wheels I've just pointed it to. Then what it'll do is in the results section we'll pull up what it thinks are all the ROMs or all the art that is relevant to that wheel. Easy peasy. So while it's doing that then, let's actually have a look at something else, what we've got in our folders. This is taking some time. Turn match, I've included that, but I haven't used it much. That looks more complicated to me. You know, on the Hyperspin website there is guides and things to use. It's quite modern compared to the other ones that I've been using, but I couldn't comment on how good or bad that is. Yep, so checking tools. Okay, in here then we have, let's have a look. A very good one is Hyper Tools. Basically what that's good for is checking all the artwork that you've got with all the ROMs that you've got. Basically it checks everything and makes a huge list. Let's actually load it up. Look at this, we're multitasking. We're doing one thing and looking at another thing at the same time. So the first time you load this, you may have to tell it where your Hyperspin directory is. Obviously you just do it to the root folder, so wherever you've installed Hyperspin, i.e. whatever directory your Hyperspin exe is in, point it towards that, and then it'll start, well, it will be able to pull all the information for your Hyperspin system. So as you can see, on mine, I think I've got this set up. Where have I got this set up on? Oh, I've actually got the one that I'm working on at the moment. So this is my most current one. It's not my most complete, but it's my most current. And okay, let's have a look at the PlayStation 2 then. Obviously this is still work in progress. There's quite a lot of art that still needs doing for it. So what we can do is click on the PlayStation 2, ROMs and check, tell it to check it. So now it's going to go through everything in my PlayStation folders, media, art, ROMs, everything, and it's going to tell me what I've got and what I haven't. So there you go, there's all the games. Load it up. Let's choose something. So there you go, there's all the games loaded up, and it's saying which ROMs I've got. And it's saying if I've got the wheel, if I've got the artwork, if I've got the video, theme, artwork 1, 2, 3, 4, backgrounds, bezels, all that kind of good stuff. It's exciting, isn't it? So it's a good way of compiling, you know, say if you can now find out if you've got any wheels missing for certain games. There is quite a lot missing for the PlayStation 2 because it's still being developed. The majority of the US wheels have all been made. But if you click on a game, it'll show you exactly what you've got. So, I don't know, what have we got a lot for? Well, basically these. Let's have a look. Okay, so yeah, so for 007, everything is nothing, whether it is. It's saying that I've got the ROM, I've got the description there, so that's basically what it's called, that's the ROM name. I've got the wheel for it, I've got the video for it, I've got all the art, as in art 3, so in this case it's the disc, and I've got the box. So there you go, it's showing me. So you can go through everything, and it'll show you what you've got missing, so you know, you can start hunting things down. It just gives you a lot of visual aids. But another great thing that it does is, if you go into this bit, no. If I then go into generate have missing report, say for example I just want to find out what wheels are missing, what I can do is I can get rid of that. I can get rid of, well, I want to keep the wheel, get rid of the video and the theme, get rid of everything to do with hyperpause. Then what it's saying is generate report for a single file. So in this case, what I'm going to do with this report is I'm going to ask it what wheels are missing to make a complete system for me. So, you know, you can do this for anything else. What ROMs am I missing? So then you can start hunting down ROMs or whatever, or bezels, or certain parts of artwork, themes, whatever. Video's a good one. And then what I want to do is I want it to generate a report, and I want it to end up, in this case, on my desktop. So click OK. So now when I click generate, there we go. It's giving me now a text file with all the wheels that are missing from my setup. You know, mine's quite current as well, but as you can see, I think there's something like 240 wheels that still need to be done for this system. We're making our way through it, but there is technical difficulties at the moment. So yeah, that's it. This is an interesting program to use if you want to see what's missing, see what you need to do and all that kind of stuff. You can also use it for other things as well. Say for example, you can actually change where things are within the systems. So you can drag and drop the order of how they appear in Hyperspin. You can turn them off. So basically, if you don't want to show, I don't know, what can we turn off? What haven't we set up yet? Oh, I've done everything in there. But yeah, basically I can turn them off, or I can turn these on, you know, if I want to enable another system. There's so many things that you can go through, but make sure you do the save changes, make sure you do the reload if anything else changed. So we've done the ROMs, that's the main menu XML, so you can change and add and take away stuff there, nice to play with. The actual ROM XML, obviously this will be system per, so I can load, I don't know, TurboGrafx 16. I can then load that, and it will show me, you know, the actual database that it goes off. As you can see, it's got all the information on there. I could then go through and start editing stuff. Say for example, changing the names, the descriptions, the years, and all that kind of stuff. I can change the order of where things appear in the wheel. Handy. And there's log viewers, parameters. Yeah. Just go through and have a play with this one. Basically, it's a nice little tool. Okay, so coming out of there now. As you can see, using the fat match that we put in there before, it finished matching successfully, so press OK. Now what it'll do is do nothing, but if you click the tab here, results, shows you. Now what you can do is in the select options, what I like to do now is select best matched. So select, so now it's going to go through it's going to go through each one that it's matched up, and as you can see at the right hand side we've got the margin of error. So as you can see, it's managed to find, let's go up to the top. It's managed to find, for example, in Agent Under Fire, it's managed to find a wheel that matches the ROM that we have 100%. So what it's done is, it's basically those that have got more than one option. Have we even got more than one option in this? I think on the ROM. Oh yeah, as you can see on this one, it's chosen the one that's higher, so in that case 100%, that matches that one. But it's also showing me that there is other options available for that game or ROM or art or whatever it is you want to do. So you can choose one of these. Now it's pretty handy when everything's, you know, the best one doing it, but it does mess up a little bit. Say for example, I don't know, you've got the FIFA series and FIFA 98 and FIFA 94, FIFA 2002. It does throw up errors. Like for example, the naming convention may suit one of a series more than the other. So, or say for example, if it's a game which is a second in its series, and instead of using a number 2, it's the word 2. It gets confused. It doesn't know that kind of stuff. So even though it is choosing the best one, you will still have to go through this entire list looking for if it's named anything, well, that doesn't match, for example. Because sometimes it's not 100%. So it is quicker, but you still need to check. Okay, so that's that. Now what we've done there is we've basically done the we've checked the wheel to the art. Now another good way, like we talked about, it's easier to change the name of the ROMs than it is the art. So even though it's asking for ROMs in this directory and images in this directory, it's actually quite good sometimes to actually flip it on its head and put the ROMs in this one and the images. So what it's doing is it knows that all your wheels are named correctly as per your database, but you know that your ROMs are incorrect. So if you'd switch it on its head, what it will do is rename all the ROMs so they match that inside your database. Because if your wheels match your database, then basically you rename your ROMs to your wheels, then everything matches. You get what I mean? Easy bloody peasy, mister. Okay, so that's Fat Match. A very good tool. I use that quite often. Although all my ROMs are more than less all named up now. Yeah, so you've got the hyper tools. We've done Fat Match. I've put some other ones in there. To be honest, I don't really use these often. Use these that often, should I say? Fucking hell, I'm always hungover. Okay, so another one is Don's hyper tools. I've used this a few times, but it's another one of those where you have to go through and actually sit down and have a good play with it. Remember, it's a good idea to actually don't commit to anything, or if you do commit, always back up what you've already done. Fat Match does that for you, to be honest. When you've actually renamed everything, then it will put some little batch files inside your folders that you've renamed. If you click on those, and basically it undoes everything that you've just done. Very handy if you've just thought you've done something really clever. You then go to use it in your system and you find out, oh fucking hell, that's why I didn't do that in the first place. Done that 1,000 times, tell you. Okay, yeah, so you know, if you want to make a new database, you can use that one. Probably take forever to load up now. And does what it asks. Have a play around with it, see what you've got going on. Filter hyperlist, that's if you've already got a data. Basically, a hyperlist in this instance is a database. So if you want to create a new database, basically what that'll do is it'll match all your ROMs and make a database for you to use. Problem is that you won't have all the information on there. For example, the year, who made it, and the correct naming convention. It will only name it as per whatever your ROMs are named. So yes, the games will then work, but no, nothing will look that good. Filter hyperlist, that's good if you want to start splitting them up or adding a database to another database. Merge database, exactly what I just said, if you want to add one database to another. And renaming ROMs, very good, like hyper match if you want to start going through and renaming ROMs compared to your database to your thing. So in that instance, you haven't got any artwork to go off, you started from fresh, all you've got is a database full of the right naming convention, and you want to change your ROMs to match that database. That's very good, but it can be quite fussy. And that if you want to start splitting them up. Have a play. dance with the devil in a dervish, whatever it's called. Okay, so that's checking tools. We've gone through naming tools, we've gone through checking tools, and art tools. Okay, this one's a very good one. Now I've included, this is my version of the custom art maker. So what basically this is a good way of making wheels. Now you can do one of a few things. Let's have a look. Let's have a look first off. Okay, this is good for making wheels. I've already said that. Now I've included all my wheel templates, so this will come apparent in a second. Yeah, backgrounds. This will come apparent in a second, but as you can see here, there's loads of templates. Now I've made some for myself for my own wheels that I've been doing. So I've got a Commodore template. I've got a ColecoVision. They don't. It doesn't make much sense now, but trust me, it will in a second. And Amiga. Now these are backgrounds, and there's loads of others in here that I have. ZX Spectrum, PSP, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. There's loads of others mixed in that I've made as well. So they could help you at certain points. Now those are the backgrounds that I made, and a lot of the default ones. Now if I'm to open up Autocustom, here's a program. Basically what this does is you have your wheels that are already made. You know, you can download them from Hyperspin, you can download them from wherever you want. But sometimes it can look a bit they can look a bit jumbled up as kept as standard. Now to join in with my hyper theme, as in the unified theme, so it all looks nice and neat and widescreen, I add a border. Now arcade systems I don't really do that because I don't use so much of a theme for that one. It's more of themes for every game, so I just let it run free basically. But for my console ones I like everything to be neat, so I use this. Now what this does is basically take all the wheels that you've got for your system, as in all the games and the pictures for that game, and it puts them inside a little border should I say. So in this case we've got the Hyperspin logo, and then it's made this nice border all the way around. Now what you can do is point this towards a system or a system set of wheels, and it will make this border around every wheel that you've got, so it makes it all look nice and neat. Now again, it's personal preference at the end of the day, but you know, I've done it for certain systems and I think it looks good when the system is set up in a certain way, i.e. the unified theme. But you know, it's again personal preference. Everything about this is personal preference. So I don't know, let's have a quick setup just to give it a quick flyby. So I haven't released it yet in my packs, but this is my Amiga backdrop for my wheel. So background, I'm going to tell it to use that one. Then I'm going to go on to border. Now you can choose whatever border you want. Obviously some fit only this background. I'm going to choose the silver one because it looks cool. Then next one tab here is gloss. Do I want it to have gloss? Highlight. I usually keep it so it's got none. So I just like to keep it like that. Then go on to logos. That's if you want it basically to have a little logo of the system next to it. I'm not sure if some of these work, to be honest. But basically you've got your name of the game or the picture of the wheel here, and then next to it you've got the logo for that system. You know, some people like it, I don't. So have a play with that if you wish in your own time, but not in mine. Okay, now I'm going to actually select where the wheels are. So in my case, let's pick some example ones just so we can have a quick look through. Media, Hyperspin. No, in fact I need to use one that's not got any. Oh, main won't have any, but it's going to have a lot of wheels. Oh, the controversy of it all. What have we set up that hasn't got wheels? Atari Classics. Boom, motherfucker. Has that got a border? Oh, I can't remember. I don't think it has. I don't think it has. Let's try it anyway. So, wheel. Okay. Basically, you're pointing it to wherever your wheels directory is. Yep. Good. As you can see, I've just pointed it towards the wheels for my Atari Classics because I know that hasn't got a border already. Otherwise, it would look stupid. It would have had a border within a border. But yeah, you can point this towards wherever you are. Now, clicking on these, it shows you what each one would look like if I was to use this pack. So, let's have a look. So basically, as standard, you don't have this border, you would just have this picture as this image. So what you can do is you can have a play around with all this kind of stuff. So I've chose it to do, I don't know, Atari Classics, but obviously you would pick a wheel that is current or blends in with your theme. I'm not teaching you to suck eggs. Width 400, the way it should be. 175. I wouldn't change that, to be honest. I wouldn't change anything apart from the actual wheel in the background and the rim that goes around the side. Okay, now choose all that. Save selected, and no, I'm just going to do save list. It's a bad word on that one, save list, because what it's actually doing is, what it should say is something like, I don't know, make these wheels, is that it says save list. So I'm actually going to choose desktop. Please make, oh no. Okay, well it's done what I told it to do. I wanted to make a directory within there. So as you can see, now I can learn Spanish or whatever it is. Chilean, do they speak Spanish? Portuguese? I'm not sure. Anyway, off topic. Okay, close out this now because it's now made like thousands of wheels on my desktop. So there you go. As you can see, it's made loads of these images or the wheel, but it's made them nice and neat to actually match the setup. So if I had I don't know, if this was the Amiga theme, I could drop these in and it would go with the theme to make it look all blended in, all looking nice. Again, it's all personal preference, but I've included all these in your downloads anyway. So yeah, I'm not going to go on and on waffling crap. I'm going to get rid of all these. And then I'm going to delete something really important now as well. Delete. Okay, so yeah, I've taught you basically, you know, we've had a brief going over as to how to use some of these tools. I've given you all the tools that I use. There are some very useful ones out there as well. They can be found mostly, obviously, on the Hyperspin website. Peruse at your own leisure. But I've given you some of my most useful ones to get you started off with. Now, as always, if you've got any problems at all, if you've got anything to ask, if you want to, I don't know, tell me your dog's name or something, just shout in the comment section. Please make sure that you like and subscribe, and if you want anything else put into a tutorial, give me a shout. I'll try my best. I will be making my way through more and more systems. There's a hell of a lot that I've already done. I just need to actually upload them. It takes me fucking forever to upload a video onto YouTube. My upload speed is dog toffee. But yeah, make sure most of all you subscribe and share, because there's knobheads out here trying to sell this stuff and it doesn't work, trust me. It's fucking dog shit, the systems that they're trying to sell you for hundreds of pounds and dollars. Just don't even bother. Don't get me started, because I do this on every video. Anyway guys, you enjoy yourself and I hope I've helped some of you out. Good day and goodbye.